morning from Jackson Hole, Wyoming. I'm still reporting on the economy. First of all, an update on the Bank of California. Unfortunately, Governor Jerry Brown did not sign the Bank of California bill, but this may not be all bad. Governor Brown explained that creating another blue ribbon commission to study a state bank was not necessary, that this should be done by the banking committees in the state's Senate and Assembly. Rather than creating a new entity, let's use the resources we have, Brown wrote in his veto statement. In other words, Governor Brown has punted this hot potato back to the legislature. We will keep watching the situation. Now for the big news of the day. I was invited to speak at the Utah Monetary Summit about 250 miles south of here a few days ago. One of the Libertarian attendees suggested that I run for the Libertarian nomination for president. I've been asked about this before, but sat through so many meetings running a small-town newspaper, I just wasn't interested in sitting through political meetings where I couldn't escape. But suddenly it hit me. This suggestion was the next step for monetary reform. Try as I have, I've been unable to penetrate big network TV. Of course, I know why. Big television networks are mortgaged to the max, just like the average American homeowner is mortgaged to the max on their home loans. They can't come out against the biggest banks upon whom they are absolutely dependent for loans. I'm not anti-bank. We need a healthy, competitive banking community to serve as the intermediary between borrowers and lenders, as well as other useful functions that banks provide. People are willing to pay for these services. However, we do need banks to be smaller, independent, and deconsolidated. I'm all about deconsolidation of power at every level of government and have been against it without exception for over 35 years. As William Jennings Bryan put it in his 1896 Cross of Gold speech, banks should get out of the governing business. Banks must stop indebting governments for the express purpose of ensuring that no effective law will ever pass that would reduce their death grip on the national economies. Banks must return to being truly competitive and helping to create a truly free market, which is certainly not the case today. The current debt money system has not generated a free market system and, in fact, is about to destroy 40 generations of humanity's struggle for true freedom, true liberty, our mutual escape from serfdom. And I'm not advocating some communist or socialist system, no. What made America great and free is an incentive-driven system, a system where your hard work can be rewarded, a system where any child can achieve the highest power in this land regardless of humble beginnings. Today it's called buy-in. Without buy-in, no one will work hard. It's just common sense. And ending the Fed will not do it. True reform depends on putting an end to two things. Number one, the ability of governments to borrow. And number two, the ability of banks to control the quantity of money in a national money system. That's it. This is the only way we can finally achieve economic stability and therefore prosperity. If you ended the Fed tomorrow and achieved neither of these two pillars of monetary reform, you would have done exactly nothing. But instead of talking about these two real solutions, the only real solutions, all you hear from the major media and all of the political candidates except Dr. Paul is one slightly different flavor of the same old tune. That is, trying to fix a debt problem with more debt.
Well, you can't borrow yourself out of debt. General Motors can't. You and I can't. The federal government can't. Nobody can borrow themselves out of debt. No more than, like I said before, you cannot drink yourself sober.
How can we be so stupid as to believe this? This ridiculous notion is what is at the core of all our economic problems today. The solution is to get out of the debt money system box altogether. The money power is the one power that makes a sovereign nation sovereign. Right now, it rests solely in the hands of the biggest banks. This is completely unconstitutional. The U.S. Constitution is very clear and simple on this subject. In Article 1, Section 8, it says, Congress shall have the power to coin money and regulate the value thereof. Regulate the value thereof means controlling the quantity. Right now, Congress has ceded the power to control the quantity of money to the biggest banks. That means we are no longer a constitutional republic. We are nothing less than a bankocracy, and that's why people are taking to the streets, because they know government is no longer responsive to the people. Occupy Wall Street, folks. Bless you for making this your generation's new human rights movement. But one and only one warning. Treat anyone promoting violence as the enemy of this movement. There is no more effective way to destroy this movement than to incite violence. Make your mottos, no more national debt, and take back the money power. This nation will never again be sovereign without it. But do so peaceably. That's the only way to create a lasting success. So it's clear to me that the next step is to offer my name as a candidate for the nomination of the Libertarian Party for the office of President of the United States. The two big parties certainly won't have me and aren't going to listen to me. The Libertarians may. I can wholeheartedly support most of their party platform, not all, but over 95% of it. Over the years, thousands of people have asked me, what can I do? I've never had much of an answer until now. Go get involved with your state Libertarian Party and do it today. They are hungry for members. They will welcome you with open arms. We have to work through the system, this blessed system of self-governance that 1 million Americans have given their lives to defend. Self-governance has gone awry primarily because it gave up the money power. Now, here's my promise to you. If elected as your president, I will take office on Sunday, January 20th, 2013. Interestingly, that's my 65th birthday. I promise that on the very next day, Monday morning, I will do three things. Number one, I will put an end to government borrowing. No more national debt. Our nation will stop borrowing and will replace Federal Reserve notes by reissuing debt-free U.S. notes and gradually paying off the national debt with them. No more borrowing means balancing the budget. I will call for a special session of Congress to convene that morning, Monday morning, to begin debate on a balanced budget amendment to the U.S. Constitution. Number two, I will put an end to the ability of the commercial banks to control the quantity of money in our system through what is nothing less than counterfeiting of the dollar.
Because your Visa card spends at the store the same way that a $100 bill does. Okay? And as a result, you have to manage the credit aggregates, which includes physical money, includes M1, M2, M3, but it also includes the credit aggregates in the system. What you can't have is the ability for people to create credit without boundary. And as soon as that occurs, you now start to drive this positive inflation trend. And once you set up a positive inflation trend in the economy, you are guaranteed to have either recessions, or if you try to stop them, depressions, in order to bring the system back into balance.
I will replace fractional reserve lending with something called the dollar of capital system. I will take other measures as necessary to ensure complete stability in the quantity of the American dollar. To ensure this system is enforced, I will appoint a special prosecutor and attorney general experienced in matters of bank fraud to prosecute to the full extent of the law those who have abused our banking system in the past, to serve as an example for the future. Number three, I will abolish the Internal Revenue System and the income tax, both personal and corporate, and implement a fair, simple, and equitable tax in accordance with the U.S. Constitution. This is how we funded our government for the first 100 years, and we can do it again. On these 3 points, you have my solemn pledge, so help me God. I'm still reporting on the economy from the Grand Tetons. Good day.